All right, Mikey. So,
All right.
Fire.
Next topic.
yeah, we want to get to taking away memories from fans,
Yes,
right?
I
is a
found this
weird
on
topic.
Twitter yesterday while scrolling. So when we see something on Twitter, we give people credit. This was from Cleveland Sports Talk.
What is Cleveland Sports Talk? It looks like they stole our logo.
It doesn't. It's not our logo. It does look like it. I'm not quite sure who he is. Earl says he knows the guy who runs it. I'm not quite familiar with him, but
All right.
they put this tweet up yesterday. They got some good responses. I'm curious what you guys think. If you could delete a Cleveland sports moment from your memory, what would it be and why?
Mine would be the fumble of the ball on the one on the carpet in Denver. That's what that would be. Biner.
Sure, he would like to.
Why? Ask me why.
Why?
I had a nice bet with Mike going on. I was about to collect. And it wasn't until 10 seconds after that ball hit the carpet, he called my house and was like, bring my money to practice tomorrow.
Like he needed that money.
Back then, there wasn't no cash app. You had to go to the bank. You walking in here with large sums of money. There's so many. There's so many. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna tell y'all something right now, and y'all gonna look back on this. And this is I would erase Chad Henne. 14-yard scramble in Kansas City. You had them on the hook. If that game goes differently, Baker Mayfield's probably still your quarterback.
That's not good, though. Why would you want to take that away?
Listen, at that point, he might have not got hurt. You look at that game, the Cleveland Browns not only had them on the ropes, they had them on the ropes with Patrick Mahomes gone. Out of the game injured.
You're right.
You ran and walked up and down the field on them, had them looking goofy. He had already thrown one pick, and Joseph Woods himself.
Joseph, who just got a new job.
New Orleans Saints defensive coordinator Joe Woods.
Good for him. Take the L's down there. I just, he comes out with 4 and rushes, and Chad Henne just slow walks down the sideline, picks up a first down, and your Cleveland Browns could have been in the AFC Championship game 2020. We'll never know.
The reality, if I have to pick one, I'm going to go with the World Series against the Marlins.
Oh, yeah.
When, obviously, they lose in Game 7 in the 11th inning.
It was Director Steve's fault. Remember, he was there.
Yeah, the Indians were up 2-0 in that game. And then, obviously, I think it was at the 7th that the Marlins scored their first run. From the 7th inning on, we want to erase the memory. However, I always felt as a kid growing up, and I know my teams have been good in recent years, but as a kid, as a Cubs and Bengals fan, I had never won until the Cubs won in 2016. None of my teams had ever won a championship, and I feel the same way about fans here, who had not experienced the championship unless you're older until the Cavs. All the brutal losses, as bad as they are, they make you who you are as a fan. There's a badge of honor to being, for me, a Cubs fan or an Indians fan or a Browns fan, that maybe you don't want that badge, but there is a badge of honor for having to suffer to never see your team win a championship, that people who are fans of the Yankees or the Lakers or the Cowboys suck now, but the 49ers, all these franchises that have had long-term success, those fans got it easy. It's easy being a fan. It's hard being a Browns fan. It's hard being an Indians fan. It toughens you up.
McNuggets, this is a great, you segued into this. I feel like when you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2016,
okay,
we feel like all that we need to do is win a championship, but I feel like that's not necessarily true. In 2016, when the Cavs won, everybody was head over heels, right? But it's almost now, people don't. I thought whoever was the first to win it, they would be gods. They would be reverenced, and that would just be cool. Like if the Browns sucked, cool, we won a championship. If the Guardians don't spend no money, cool, the Cavs won. But because they did not have sustained growth and sustained longevity, I think it came And by the time we was like, okay, this is what it feel like to be in the contenders. This is what it feel like to be on national TV. This is what it feel like to be like one of those guys at the country club. You lose your job and you gotta default on your membership, right? You can't go to the golf course no more. They said whatever happened to that kid Garrett? He had a Range Rover and everything. That little money was funny, right? Now all of a sudden you at the Y again. It's the same way with Kyrie, like in LeBron, because they rolled out. We were supposed to be doing that long term. So like I feel like right now, people kind of just don't even really appreciate it at that level. It's just like, yeah, it happened, but you weren't there long enough to feel it. Like right now, do you watch the Cavs and be like, yeah, that's one of the greatest championships. Yeah, that championship. Nobody even talks about 2016. They don't.
Let's go.
Hey, have you seen anybody on the street? You go to Cleveland, right? You be in airports. You go on vacation. When they ask you, yeah, man, don't anybody say, hey, man, 2016, man, you guys did your thing. No one mentions it. They tell you how terrible the Browns is and what's going on with Deshaun Watson. It's almost like it got struck for the records. Like, so in a way, I could almost feel Kyrie. It's like, yeah, we hit this shot. Yeah, it was 1 million people out there, but then the next year it was like, so?
Because, part of it is just the nature of the sport, right? Like, even we say this is about Cleveland, but it really, in America, football is in a pedestal by itself. The NFL is on a pedestal by itself. There's no longer like I always thought of sports for me as a big three: baseball, football, basketball. But it really is. It's a big one.
Yeah.
The NFL's up here, and then the other sports are on here, and then further. So winning a championship in football is just changes everything more than any other sport. And not for every individual. Like for me, if I had to pick one Cleveland team to win a championship, I'd pick the Guardians. Mm-hmm. I'd want them to win more than the other teams. But for the majority of fans here, and I believe for the majority of fans in most cities that have 3 or more teams, their football team winning is most important to the city.
Yeah, it's just, and I don't know. I felt like I can't be the only one that feels like this. Like.
No, you're right.
Like it's just like and even when we're in the business of talking about the Cavs, talking about sports, it's almost as if like the passion level. Brad, you played basketball. You played basketball.
Yeah, but it's never going to carry the day. His Bulls, right? It's never going to carry the day like football. Football is going to carry the day. Now here, the thing in 2016 was the feeling was amongst everyone because Cleveland hadn't had a championship in anything, right? So that's what drew all the people out. But for long-lasting memories, you get more people remembering the Browns in their heydays and the days they won and where they were and who was with them. They were with their dad and where they watched it at. You're going to get that for sure longer than any other sport here, right? It's just because that's just the way it is.
Sometimes I think maybe if LeBron would have stayed, we could have rolled it out.
Well, I'm glad you said that because that's you think about the run the Cavaliers would have had if Kyrie hadn't asked out of town, right? Oh, they were set up to run for a decade. This could have been the Green Bay Packers setup.
Right. Like I just
Titletown.
I just didn't understand. And then for me, I just don't get it. Well, I kind of do get it, but I don't. Like I think there was so much backlash after he left the first time. That people it took them everything they had. It's some people who had to move heaven and earth to get on board with him coming back.
Yeah, they did.
They was just so scorned. And it took a couple years and they finally broke through and did it. But for me, I just realized like that one day, it just seemed like when in 18 when he said, all right, we had to run, and you kind of knew he was done. Mm-hmm. I was just like, but hold on though. You said what are you doing? I don't care how many. It became this narrative where, hey, as long as he got us our championship, I'm like, that was not the deal. That was not what you said on that stage in Akron. That was not the deal. You said you coming back and you gonna get it done. Right. And then when it was like people just gave him a pass, I think it was just like, okay, well, he don't want to be here no more. Like we got what we needed. Cool, that's fine.
Plus, it's always like when you haven't won, you're like, just give me one championship, just give me one. But then you win one, you want more. That's not it.
I'm like,
Yankee fans still want more championships. They won a zillion.
and so you look at it, you happen now. Obviously, the very next year, the Raptors go and play, Golden State, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And so the Raptors break out and come through with Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
But you have to ask yourself, if LeBron and Kyrie was still there, that looks like them. You go play the Warriors again.
Well, that was 2 years, right?
Did they? So I don't think they won 3 in a row. So they won
Because
won
the
a 16.
Cavs lost the year.
They won a 16.
Yeah.
The next year, 17,
Yeah.
they lost with Kyrie.
Yeah.
The next year, in 18, they just had LeBron and all the rest of the tag-along gang, right? And then in 2019,
Yeah.
it was the Toronto Raptors
Right.
and them, and then the Raptors eventually beat them.
Right.
So I always wonder what would have been.
Yeah.
What would have been.
It was a great run because the country was just starting to hate Cleveland because Cleveland was showing up in the finals every year. Every year.
Yeah.
You know what it is.
It was getting like New England like.
Foregone conclusion. It was Stephen A. Smith used to say, "I gotta go up to Cleveland. South Beach is down there, and you got me up here in Cleveland. No disrespect
It's not
to
bad.
Cleveland.
That is disrespectful.
That is very disrespectful."
Yeah.